Hello and welcome to Comic Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Eric McElroy. Good evening and welcome. I don't want to get emotional because, of the two of us, I'm the more emotional
That's
one
true.
because you're like a robot. But this is a very special show, Steve. I want to say to you first off, and to everyone who's watching, happy 1 year anniversary of us doing the show.
Is it our anniversary? Was I meant to get you something?
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to be in the mood because we're not in a restaurant.
Just gonna set that over here. Then I won't give you that. Yes, we have now been doing the show for an entire year of lockdown. It has evolved. This is launched now officially because we're into the second year. We're calling this Series 4.
Yep.
So welcome to the first episode of Series 4, where we as comics solve problems. And the idea of the show came out of the fact that we were comics in quarantine solving problems. We thought back in spring of last year we'd drop the in quarantine part because it wasn't necessary anymore. Look where we are. And if you want to see how far we have come in the last year, here's a little shot of us 12 months ago. Look at that. Oh my God.
Do you think we've changed much?
Some things, I mean, the font is better, definitely.
Yep.
I think we both suited up. You weren't even wearing a jacket back then.
I know, sloppy.
Which is kind of incredible.
Same shirt though.
Is it the same?
Yeah.
We both moved new offices, so that's exciting. I've bothered to put my glasses on, still struggling with the reflection on the light, but I've just bit the bullet, and yeah, there we go.
I'll tell you what's really weird as well. Back in episode 1, you had the Yeti mic that was visible, and I had my fancy Neumann TLM thing.
Right.
And these days, I've had to downgrade to this. You can't even see yours now, but mine's...
It's there.
Yeah.
If I move it, it makes a weird squeaky sound, so I won't do that. But yeah, welcome to 1 year of us being at home in lockdown, unemployed, and solving problems. And that is what we do.
Yep.
And it feels like we're going to do it for a while because everything's going to be fine soon. Oh, God. But it's been fun. So happy 1 year anniversary of solving problems together. I think we've pretty much sorted out most of the world, as we can see, based on some of the things we're probably going to talk about tonight. But as you're watching, welcome to the YouTube chat. We'll be checking in with you as we go. If you can, like the show. If you're watching it, that's very much appreciated. And if you want to tell anybody you're watching it live, you can. Or you can subscribe, of course, to the channel. And you can watch back the show and clips of the show from the channel. If you can't be bothered to do 40 minutes of this, you can just see the highlights that we put out over the next few days. I shouldn't really downsell it, should I? I should be more... I've been in the UK for too long, Steve. I should be upset like, oh my God, you're going to want to tell everyone about this. But I can't do that anymore because it makes me hate myself. But people are watching all over the world, so that's exciting. And if at any point you think, wow, these guys have now been unemployed for an entire year, I wish there was something I could do about that. Well, you can. You can get us a Ko-fi, which you can see on our link there. And that can be any amount that you want in any currency.
Yeah.
1 year anniversary special. Presents.
Bigger numbers are better numbers.
But you can also just watch the show and see what you think it's worth. And thank you as well to some people who, through our partnership with Crack Comedy, booked some tickets on there. So, yeah, there we go. The anniversary stuff's over. Nothing else special going on. It's just because we've been together a long time now, Steve. So it's an anniversary where it's just like, well, it's another day. Yeah. Into the news.
Yep, just back to the same old
special
drudgery.
Same old thing. So what have you got for us, Steve?
Well, same old, same old. You're right, we might be a new series, but it's the same issues again. I want to talk about solving the problems of the vaccines. And let's start off with something positive. Some good news about the vaccines, that we actually have the Moderna vaccine in the UK being rolled out, started in Wales. That's good news. I like that we've got so many different brands of vaccine that are available to us. And we're heading towards brand saturation. We'll get there when you get to travel in the summer. You'll be on a Spanish beach and some dude will turn up and try and sell you all the various brands of the vaccine, but with the names spelled slightly wrong. You'll be asking whether you want to have the Modgerna. You might opt for the Tizer vaccine, or just go for the cheaper AstraZeneca. You got options, and that'll be. I know which one I'll get out of those, and that's interesting. Then, so we know that there's an extra one. We've got the Moderna one. They showed us the picture of the first person getting it. There, she is. Interesting. Look, the first person to get the Pfizer vaccine We might remember it was Margaret. There she is.
Yeah.
And then the first person to get the AstraZeneca, 82-year-old Brian. And then, I'll say this for Wales. Your pensioners are sexy. Hell yeah. Hey, old lady, when you fell from heaven, did it damage your hips? Are you okay? Do you need me to call someone? Are you sure you're all right? But damn, she's looking fine. And it turns out she's actually, surprise, surprise, not a pensioner. She's a 24-year-old. And there's a part of me that was like, 24-year-old's getting a vaccine. If I missed a call, just hanging around here doing nothing, trying to solve some problems, no one's... all right. But there will be more young people getting this Moderna one. And that's because of this problem. AstraZeneca jab has been ruled out for the under 30s because of the issues to do with the clots. Very rare occurrence, but it's changed things. I think one of the big problems that if we don't give that vaccine to the under 30s, it means that if you've been offered the AstraZeneca vaccine and you're over 30, some people won't want to take it because it'll give away their age.
Right.
And people are really sensitive about those kind of... People love it when they get ID'd. I was ID'd for some alcohol today. Oh, God. There's definitely people having thoughts like this. Oh, I've got my appointment booked in to receive the Moderna vaccine. Looks like someone thinks I look too young for the AstraZeneca. I think that's what it says. I can't quite... Did you get my glasses? There's a lot of that going on. But let's get into it then. So here's the front page of today's Sun. Even they are talking about how safe it is. Tiny chance of a killer clot after AZ vaccine. Look at that as a number, 0.00095%. And they're saying, don't worry about something that is highly unlikely to happen. Don't worry about something that is so unlikely to happen actually coming to fruition. It is ridiculous to concern yourself with it. And then the top of the page, but have a bet on the Grand National. Way, that horse with 3 legs. Why not put some money on that? It might happen. You never know. Brilliant. It's the best juxtaposition I've seen in ages. And then let's do the odds then. So let's talk about the odds. From the BBC website, we heard that the risk of dying from one of these clots following vaccination is incredibly small, about 1 in a million. And that's tiny. That's so unlikely. That's like a 1 in a million chance. And what are other things that are 1 in a million chance? The same website says that traveling 250 miles in a car also carries a 1 in a million chance of dying. So if someone offers you an AstraZeneca vaccine from a vaccine centre 125 miles away, by the time you've done the round trip, you're definitely dead. I think that's how the maths works.
I agree with those maths.
I've shown my workings. Guaranteed to be dead. Don't do it. A lot of time has been spent talking about other things that might be more likely to give you clots. We've seen this, the risk of thrombosis from contraceptive pill far greater than blood clots from the AstraZeneca vaccine. I'm not sure that's making anyone feel better. Just makes you feel worse about other things. I mean, the risk of blood clots from the contraceptive pill is one of the reasons I'm not on it. It's not a main reason, but it's one of the reasons. But it's considerably more likely that you'll get a blood clot if you're on the pill, and yet there's more concern about the small chance of the AstraZeneca one. That's a valid point, but you also need to consider the probabilities and the risk of what happens if you don't take it. So, for example, if you don't have the AstraZeneca vaccine, if you're in your 40s, the risk of dying if you're infected with COVID is 1 in 1,000. So that's quite high. But if you're not on the pill, the chance that your kid will be an absolute pain in the arse, 100%. So you got to think about those stats. I think I've done the math.
It's just science.
Yeah.
It's just your science that you've done.
I've done some science.
You're so good at
There's more science coming later as well, but that's all the maths. I do worry as a serious point. So, there might be a link, but it's a really slight increase, and no one's really run the figures on the other vaccines, but it's getting a bad press. And I already spend long enough on TikTok arguing with people who say, the vaccine's a globalist conspiracy to try and get rid of the population. Someone actually, on my TikTok the other day, posted, you don't see them giving it to any young people because they can still work. They're trying to kill off pensioners. So now they think that's why they're not giving it to young people? So this whole thing is just going to fuel the conspiracy theorists who half understand something and then get angry on TikTok. But every time they do, I get more views. You don't mind.
Yeah, that's what we live for these days.
That's all there is.
That's what it's all about. It's not like, oh, had a sold out show at the comedy blah, blah, blah last night. It's like, no, got 5 people liked my live stream.
That's what we're aiming for, baby.
Thumbs up, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So, I don't know. That night on the cover of the Sun, though, I mean, whatever's on the Sun, I know it's true. And that is a big number. That's a 95% chance of dying is what it's saying, right?
It's not really how numbers work.
No, I can see the 95 and the percent. It's 95% chance you're going to die from the AstraZeneca vaccine.
Right. But only in 1 in 10,000 times.
Oh, yeah, don't try and confuse the issues.
1 in 10,000 times there'll be a 95% chance. The rest of
Doesn't
them,
matter where you put that.
The rest of the times there's a 0% chance, but in 1 in 10,000 times there's a 95% chance, and that sounds scary.
Yes, it doesn't matter where you put the decimal point. That's all I'm saying.
It reminds me of that scene in Naked Gun when Norberg's in the hospital and they're driving back and they're having the conversation in the car saying, how's the doc said that he's doing? So there's a 35% chance he'll pull through, but there's only a 10% chance of that. Brilliant.
One of the best lines.
We're living it now.
Definitely living it. So I'm sure everything will be fine. I would like to move to Wales, though, so I can get a goddamn shot.
Well, I'd like to move to my people, if that's what the pensions look like.
That's right.
Damn.
I shouldn't have taken the piss out of Wales in that show a few weeks ago.
There is also a chance that, whenever they give us the pictures of the vaccines being rolled out in Scotland, they'll look similar, but that's because they are the older generation, if you're 24. So look, we've got some shout-outs going. Chris said he'd better wake up. Good. Chris Hood, I hope you are awake and getting involved in this. Happy new series, chaps, says Mark. Britt says,
thank you very much.
Britt says, ooh, shiny new series, but will you be wearing shiny bin heads? Forgot about that.
We didn't. We're raising money for it.
Oh,
we want to go with the quality bins.
We should make that the new Kofi goal.
Yeah, I did do a new Kofi goal. Hold on, I should know what it is.
Track that down. Meanwhile, I'll just say that Jack gives us the thumbs up, and Chris says awkward because I forgot to get you something for the anniversary.
Yeah,
that's all right. I forgot his birthday as well. So that's all right.
It's all right. It's nice to see Mark is back.
Yeah, good to have you back, Mark. In fact, we've got some comments from him coming up. Eric's gone from smart casual to almost business, and Steve has gained a beard, but Chris points out gained a beard and a complex. Thank you.
Our new goal as of Tuesday's show is for us to launch a new Comics Answers to replace Yahoo Answers.
Yes, because it made so much money for Yahoo that it was worthwhile. We should definitely.
It was such a success.
We should get in on that.
Yeah. That's the kind of business venture we're like, these guys did that website for years and it's ending. There's a gap in the market.
I love that we're going to go for a business loan and pitch to the bank manager. Right, imagine Yahoo. He'd be out. Brilliant.
It's like AOL and MySpace.
Tracy says, oh, happy anniversary to you both. Thank you very much. A full year of doing this. Who'd have thought?
Feels like it'll never end.
Mark says, when did it stop being called Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine? In the same way that when Andy Murray is not doing so well. Scotland's Andy Murray lost. So if Dominic Cummings made 999,999 trips to and from Barnard Castle, the millionth, God, how has he survived all of those? The other stat that I didn't include because I couldn't think of a dumbass joke for it was that the odds of being murdered every month are 1 in a million.
Okay.
So obviously that means you'd have to live for 1 million months to guarantee that you get murdered, and I imagine you do the job for them before then. But wow, I didn't realise that. It's 1 in a million. Yeah, the same odds as getting murdered.
Mm-hmm. So if you went on a car ride, got the vaccine, and then got murdered, your odds of death would definitely go up.
The odds of death then would be 150%.
Oh, then, you see?
Alanis Morissette would turn up and isn't that ironic?
Don't you think?
Yeah. Let's have a look. So Mark and Chris are talking to each other. I'll try and work out what's going on here. It would be someone else's fault in relation to the Dominic Cummings thing. But would he see it coming? # eyesight test. Excellent work.
Of course. That's true.
And Mark says, sorry, I forgot. Tuesday was Tuesday. That's why Mark wasn't here for the live stream on Tuesday. Well, you can watch it back, but let's pretend you missed it. Terrible.
It's easy. I mean, the days are all the same. I know tomorrow, Monday is bin day.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah. And Chris Hood,
tomorrow's not been
Chris Hood says, if you get murdered on the 1st of the month, you'd be safe for a long time. That's true. If you are going to get murdered any month, do it early, and that way you know you won't get murdered for the rest of the month.
Yeah. And the thing is, our old career, we used to die all the time.
Still do, just it's not quite as painful on a live stream.
Exactly. These people all hate us. So
as long as you chuck some money in the Ko-fi pot, we'll keep doing this because we are out of
Ko-fi, and then we will launch our comic answers and get some bins. That's the plan. So anything that you can put in there is appreciated after a year.
So if you're enjoying the show, pop a little thumbs uppy type thing on the live stream on YouTube.
Yep.
And spread the word. You can tweet the link out so that people can come and join us right now. But Mr. Erich McElroy, it's time to solve a problem.
Yes, and this is the problem, Steve, that kind of fits in with the problem you were just talking about, and it's the problem of being prime minister. It's not an easy job. I mean, obviously, we've taken the piss out of Boris quite a bit. He's probably not our guy, but you have to admit that there is a lot going on in the world and the nation. You've got headlines like this, which ties into what you were just talking about the problems with the AstraZeneca vaccine and the blood clot issues, and it's coming from the EU as well, which is just like sticking it in the eye, having the EU do that to us. You've got headlines like this, which is starting to kick off. In Northern Ireland, there was a bus torched, which you know how close buses are to Boris's heart. He hates to see one of those go down, with potential violence that might be from Brexit and from other things, and there's just lots of trouble happening. And the prime minister, he's right there in the thick of it, as we can see right here. He's dealing with this intense issue. He's enjoying ice cream in Cornish Holiday Park, according to the Stroud News. So it's good to see that he's right there in the front of it, and everything. But I mean, of course he is. It's, but to be fair, it's not the only thing that's happening down in Stroud. They've got a lot of things going on, which we can see. It wasn't just the prime minister visiting. They've got a new Rough Hands coffee, is selling the Fire and Flow espresso. So that's pretty exciting. As the prime minister gets an ice cream, get that Rough Hands Cafe. I don't know about that name, Rough Hands Cafe. How do you feel about that? I mean, I guess that's better than the Burnt Hand Cafe, which you're doing a lot of espresso. You don't want to see that on the person. But after a year of COVID, I don't want anyone's hands near my coffee.
Is that what it is? Because they've alcohol hand gelled too much?
Yeah, exactly. It makes it that scratchy.
There it is.
Scratchy sound. Oh, that's not pleasant at all. But again, that's not the only news down in Stroud. This happened as well. We've got they were only using peat-free compost. So look at that. In the Stroud News, 2 stories on the headline page that are both about pieces of shit. One of which is the prime minister, of course, we were talking about there. Now, let's focus back on the prime minister, because this is the main story. Remember now, we're not going to get to the ice cream yet, because we want to build the tension to what the prime minister's been doing. Now, we remember this is the prime minister who famously, before he got COVID, was out there shaking hands, was in the hospitals and everything else, and he has learned his lesson. So let's have a look at what he's doing here once he gets to Cornwall. There he is. He's going in, and there's the hand sanitizer, getting some of it. Yep, very good, Boris. Very nice. And what's the first thing he does after he hand sanitizer? He rubs it there. Is that what it's for? I mean, maybe. I've never tried it. I've got some sand because my hair is growing a bit. Let's give it a go.
Are you going to get rid of the Robert Peston look?
That is great. Because my wife she bought the grade A stuff here. I've already rubbed it dry. Hold on, it goes so fast. Don't get me near a match now, Steve, because I will burst. Let me just.
We would get so many likes.
Oh, it stings. It's stinging my scalp. Ow.
If it makes your hair grow thicker, do let me know.
Oh, do I look more like prime ministerial material now?
It's like you've just stepped out of a salon, yeah.
That's amazing. Right, okay, so, damn, I did not practice that. Those aren't, so here we are. We want to see the shot. We want to see, this is what everybody's there for, Steve. We all want to see the prime minister eat a goddamn ice cream cone. Go.
How are you? Nice to see you. I would like an ice cream with a...
Oh, there we go, Steve. It's the prime minister
When is the historic moment when I actually have to reach into my wallet? Discover whether there's anything in there.
Yeah, there we go. We know he doesn't like to reach into his wallet, at least according to his unknown number of children. It's one way to avoid sport is just not admit how many there are. Okay, so now the thing is, if the Prime Minister was at your ice cream booth, Steve, wouldn't you love to have that level of employment? Would you take his money? Would you want to say, oh, no, Prime Minister, that's fine. You go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, no, I'd want to take the money and anything that Rishi's got. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, here, let's see what happens.
Right, thank you. Right, here we go. No. The media will spot it.
Did you hear that? You take the money. You take the money. Because the media will notice. I mean, if the media wasn't here, I would fleece you fucking dry. I would take this van. I would take your wife. She's quite fit. I'd have a go at her. Good Lord. I mean, he just says the quiet part out loud.
It's brilliant, though, because it makes sense. Because it'll be the front page of a Sunday newspaper that whoever's selling the ice cream owns a pole dancing pole. And they probably imply that Boris Johnson's getting crushed nuts sprinkled on top of something.
Let's be honest. They're not doing stories much in the UK about the fact that Northern Ireland is on fire. He could probably get away with stealing an ice cream cone. Now, all right. This is it, Steve. He's gone there to get the ice cream. We need the shot of the Prime Minister eating a goddamn ice cream cone.
Best ice cream you ever had?
Delicious.
He can't keep his hands out of his hair. I mean, what's going on? He does the thumbs up, and he's got ice cream on his face, and he's still rubbing all over. I mean, it's just... could you just one more time, Prime Minister? Just one more time. Keep it clean.
Okay.
I'm beginning to think that phrase, hands, face, space, that was all just done for Boris to remember, not for the rest of us.
Yeah.
You know, keep his hands off of his face and give some of the women around him space.
It makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of sense, Steve. So, there we go. It's not easy.
Brit says, I scream, you scream, we all scream at Boris. That's a good summary of what the news always is. And also, alcohol hand gel at home hair highlights. That equals the same. You're right. I'm sure it bleaches it, probably. The acid. Is there acid in it?
I can't see. Oh, this is about...
Bringing out the grey. That helps.
This is 90% alcohol, whatever this one is. We brought this over from the States. This is some powerful shit.
Yeah, that sounds like that was the right one to use for this skit. That you could have used anything and we wouldn't have noticed, but that was definitely the one to pick for an online show.
I'm like Dustin Hoffman here, okay?
And I'm like Sir Johnny Gielgud. Have you ever tried acting?
I just want to smell it again.
Okay. Well, while you're enjoying that, let's have a look. Hands, face, space, brackets between his ears, says Mark Randall. Indeed. The media. And so we've gone from a story about a blood clot to a story about a total clot, says Mark.
Nice. That's a good one.
I think we're nicely up to date. You can keep the messages coming through on this as well. And if you're enjoying any of the show, you can like it. Of course you can like it, the thumbs uppy thing. Even I'll log on and like it in a bit.
Yep.
I didn't like it at the start because I didn't know. I can't be sure.
Good. Don't overcommit.
No,
I've only been doing this for a year.
I've read some of the jokes I'm doing today. In the next bit, not so much. Chris says gel method. But yeah, I mean, the method acting, you're committing to the bit. I'll give you that. But I also think sometimes the fluids you can use in a sketch don't have to be the real ones. More on that coming up soon.
Literally?
Yeah. So you can put some coffee in the Ko-fi thing, and you can put the thumbs up, spread the link, all that stuff. Should we crack on to another problem?
Oh, yes, please do.
We're rattling through in our anniversary episode. So I want to talk science and some of the problems with science and some of the problems that science can solve. And I love the science. I'm always preaching about the science.
All about the science.
I love all about science. Oh. I love telling people that it doesn't matter whether you believe in science or not. Science doesn't care. It's just a thing. It's a system of finding out information. Sometimes that information is important and useful. Sometimes it is not. So today you might have seen some real big science news and thought, Steve's bound to mention this. How about this? Front page of the Times newspaper today talks about a new force of nature that, and they do a little joke there that leaves the physicists over the muon. This is because these muon particles are acting in a way that shouldn't be predicted by the standard model. The standard model, therefore, must have bits missing. If we can find a new thing, that's some new physics. What you do, just to explain, that you need like a cyclotron, you need a particle collider. And you get these subatomic particles going faster and faster, close to the speed of light, smack them into each other, and from that impact you get other subatomic particles like the muon that you can produce in a collider. Not to be confused with the particle the meowon. For that, you need a CAT scan.
Science puns. Disappointing pun fans and scientists at the same time.
So there's potentially another force of nature. You think, okay, give us the latest. What are the first four? Your first four are gravitational, electromagnetic force, the strong nuclear, and the weak nuclear. Even the main four go downhill pretty sharply. Like, they drop off a cliff after the first two, and it's only possible to drop off a cliff thanks to the first one. So basically, after you've done the first two, no one really cares, right? You find another force of nature. I mean, how did we not notice it so far? It's not interacting in our lives too much. Yeah, so I think we'll be... Unless this is a force of nature that gives me superpowers to move things with my mind, I'm sorry, I don't care. I don't know, it's meant to... I mean, like, you see that headline and you think, do you know how important this is? Because if you do, text us. Because I really don't care. I want science that's going to be impactful for the way that I live my life. I want scientific research that could change things for me. So instead, I'll bring you this story. The woman who naturally urinates booze due to a rare condition where it brews in her bladder. Now, it's a 61-year-old woman in America, and if she says, do you fancy a night on the piss? You say no. Because she has yeast in her bladder, apparently, and got a little brewery going on down there. Some sugar gets in from her blood. And they kept saying that she must be having a drinking problem, but... not believing her when she said she doesn't drink. And eventually they worked out there's no alcohol in her blood, but she wheezes out alcohol. And it's got a name. Look, it's called either bladder fermentation syndrome or urinary autobrewery syndrome. If a friend of yours, and no one knows how many people have got this because no one's being tested, but if a friend of yours had urinary autobrewery syndrome and you're all out for a night out, if he said, right, I'll get the round in, you would watch him like a hawk. You were like, if he goes to the gents before the bar, I'm going to walk out this place. And it's all very easy to sit here being kind of like, oh, it's disgusting, you've got a medical condition that's and it's easy for us to be childish. Oh, you wee-wees like alcohol. But I think we need to ask the serious question. If you were living with this 61-year-old woman who's got this condition during lockdown, when the pubs have been closed, how long would it be till you have this conversation? Look, I know this is going to be awkward for both of us, but I just don't see the point in it going to waste, so... Well, now I know why they call you Stella. And I refer you to my earlier comments. In some sketches, not all the fluids have to be the genuine fluids. Hashtag water acting.
Now when I realize we got this in America, that lady that was selling it out of the boot of her car, it makes a lot more sense.
In that. That'll clean them up.
It would solve you wouldn't have to worry about, after closing time, getting a drink, keep your hands clean. There's a lot of problems that would be solved by that.
Yeah, and it keeps you hydrated. I've got the full bottle of it here, in case anyone's interested. Because I prepare for these sketches. Chris says, tish, CAT scan. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You just spin a cat by its tail.
So it's like
create that sort of...
like a cyclotron.
Yeah, exactly.
You get a meow on. Oh, Peter Moore says, so funny. We'll take that. That's as close to a round of applause we get these days. Thank you, Peter.
There we go. Thank you very much.
Although Chris does pull... He sends an emoji of someone being sick. What? Because of my bottle of Stella. Although Tracy just sends us the phrase golden shower. That's the kind of thing that could really get us in trouble with YouTube, probably.
YouTube. Did they have YouTube Red anymore? Is that a thing? Or is that gone?
Red. Oh, is it like, wasn't it called RedTube?
Yeah.
How are we not streaming on there? Well, let's talk about streaming, but yeah.
Different.
Mark says, well, that explains the smell of Mishlob. Never know how you pronounce that. And think I'll take a long quark off a short pier. Atomic particle jokes. Hashtag science puns.
Oh, dear God.
Remember when John Major talked about old ladies and warm beer? Now I understand. Oh, oh, it's got a head on it as well. That's the worst thing, isn't it?
Oh, that's the problem. It's going to be the temperature.
Look at the crema on that.
But it's America. She was American, right?
Yeah.
It'll be cold piss.
It's chilled.
It'll be ice cold like the mountains of the Rockies. I can see the ad for it now.
I think, what's the name of that actor? He's got the big, bushy, white, grey moustache, and he's great at, like, country and
Wilford
west.
Brimley?
Yes, is he the one who be? No, actually, no. I know which one. Not a comedy actor, but he's great at voiceovers, and he'd just be doing a thing like "Old lady piss." Sometimes I like to go out and nothing quite as nice as blowing the froth off old lady piss.
We should brand that as a thing. Maybe that could be our next goal.
Yeah.
Once we get this whole Comics Answers thing launched, with your support, we can start our own in-house breweries.
Because all we need to do is get chronic yeast infections and eat lots of sugar until we're diabetic. Old lady
Not a
piss
problem.
brewery.
That has been my diet over lockdown, let me tell you. I haven't lost weight. I'm wasting away.
Think the woman's Rockies went south some time ago, says Mark. Well, this is not a section where we're doing boob jokes. This is entirely pee-pee jokes. Come on.
If she was... So if she had that... I mean, if she was breastfeeding, would that be like Bailey's?
Oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Optics. Up on the optics. Down there on draft.
Full service.
Put in a little shot glass. Adore. Old lady brewery. For when you need to have nice the taste of Werther's original in beer form.
Just got to keep the lines clean. That's the important part. Don't have any problems there.
What about I was going to do an insider joke, but no, it's not. I mean, it would work as a pun. Insider. Yeah, no one needs that joke.
Yeah, don't even say it.
Just give you the bits. You can IKEA that joke yourself.
You know it's there. Right. Should we move away from this luscious story?
Yes, if you'd like to put some fluid in our cup, then you could go to kofi.com/comic solving problems, chuck some money there, like what you're watching. If you want to be associated with liking humour about old lady piss brewery, then that's where you do it. But meanwhile, Mr. Erich McElroy, what you got for us?
Well, it feels like it's been ages since I covered anything from America because the country is almost normal now. But this is a problem that has been going on for quite a while, Steve, and it's the problem with Infrastructure Week. Now, you might remember from the Trump administration that Infrastructure Week was something that they did frequently. It went all the way back to Sean Spicer, whenever they're trying to take the news away from whatever tweet that Trump had put out there or something else. They'd say, hey, it's Infrastructure Week. But then he would get bored and he would, start calling Kim Jong-un Rocket Man or something else would happen, or he'd attack someone on Twitter. And Infrastructure Week would fall by the wayside. So, I mean, partly because he thought it was fixed that one time he got to sit in that Big Mac truck honking the horn outside the White House. He was like, it's sorted. But however, Biden is actually doing it, as we saw. He's getting it done this week, as we saw right here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Last week in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I announced my plan.
All right. So last week and this week, he's run over more than 1 week. It's 2 weeks of Infrastructure Week. Whatever. Biden. The difference is we know this time something is happening because Fox News is already covering it and they're coming out hard against it, as we can see here.
The $2 trillion proposal is only dedicated to roads and bridges. Why is that?
That's right. They're not happy, Steve, because this infrastructure bill is covering things more than just traditional buildings and brick and mortar, because that's the kind of infrastructure that Republicans believe in, going back to old-fashioned railroads like this, the way railroads should be, as we can see here, built like they were back in the day by the Chinese. Before they were commies, they came to America and they built their railroads in America, and as a reward, they get to have restaurants and do dry cleaning for us now. That's the way Chinese used to be, and they used to be respectful. That's the kind of infrastructure Republicans like. Or they need to do ships. Republicans like ships, old-fashioned ships, like these ships. These are the kind of ships that America needs, Steve, right here. Good old Republican ships doing what ships used to do best. But the Republicans, Steve, yeah, put that in there. It made me a little nervous, I'll have to admit.
Not only should it make you nervous, someone's going to take a clip of just that bit. And that's going to be me who does that.
Yes, it is. But whatever gets us the likes. Whatever gets us the likes. Kevin McCarthy, who's the top Republican in the House of Representatives, he was also very upset about this and saying this deal is just way too broad. And he was on Fox News as well, right here.
Biden is now trying to do in this so-called infrastructure bill. Do you realize that this infrastructure bill, it just raises taxes, Green New Deal, but it provides more subsidy for electric cars?
Did you see what he was doing there, where he's just talking Green New Deal, and he's throwing it in there because he wants people to know Green New Deal, that they should be really scared about what's Green New Deal. It's like, it's just that subtle sort of ASMR sort of way of talking, where you just drop in something that people, because people might like this infrastructure bill, but they don't like the Green New Deal. We can see he does it throughout this hit he did on Fox News,
more
right here.
Subsidy for electric cars than it does for roads and bridges combined. It's Green New Deal, nothing about infrastructure. It's Green New Deal. Because if it really was, Republicans would be right there. It's Green New Deal to work with them. It's Green New Deal. No, this is about raising taxes. It's Green New Deal, 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 raising taxes.
Couldn't quite get what he was trying to convey there. It's really difficult. Sometimes these guys, they just need to really lay it out there and just Green New Deal.
I thought you were going to drop a beat.
Yeah, I'm not that. I don't have that level of skill. My son has learned how to do that on DaVinci Resolve. He's doing TikTok videos for Fortnite with music that will blow your mind. I should have had him do it for me.
He's working on DaVinci Resolve more than you are. I can't believe we've been doing this for a year and he's overtaking you.
He started it last night and he's already cut something that I could never do.
Brilliant.
But this is an infrastructure deal that we need, as Mayor Pete, who's Transport Secretary, explains.
Talking about things like the grid. I don't know why anybody would say it's a mistake to invest in the grid after what we just witnessed in Texas. We saw U.S. citizens living in Texas melting snow in their bathtubs to be able to flush their toilets in the United States of America. That is unacceptable. So,
yeah, that is totally unacceptable, Steve. Everybody knows you melt your snow in the toilet so you can shit in the shower. That's how you do things in Texas, goddammit. Can tell the state's turning blue. That is insane. What is wrong with these people? But Mayor Pete is there, and he is amazing. He goes on Fox News all the time, and he is selling the plan. Pete, sell it to me.
Good infrastructure planning is always about looking to the future. You know, railroads weren't part of infrastructure until we built them.
Exactly. Railroads became part of the infrastructure once they were built. You build something, it becomes part of the infrastructure, and people need stuff. They need a good power grid. They need a good broadband. They need the resources to make the foundation of the country strong. And the problem Republicans have is that concept is actually really popular with lots of people, which you can see in this poll right here, where it's more than 50%, that middle column, 71, 64, Republicans, regular Republicans support all of the items in this bill more than 50%. Democrats, of course, it's off the charts. And that's going to be the problem for Republicans, because it's very popular, because you can basically just add everything you need to infrastructure. And that's what Biden is proposing, which you can see right here.
The idea of infrastructure has always evolved to meet the aspirations of the American people and their needs.
That's right, Steve. Infrastructure is evolving. It's building, and it's going to meet our needs. It's going to meet all of our needs. And I'll tell you, you know what I want from infrastructure, Steve? I want this right here.
He's on a hoverboard!
Finally getting my hoverboard, Steve. I've waited a long time for this. I'm not talking about one of those mechanical scooters or some shit with that. No wheels on this.
Yeah.
No wheels.
And look, I'm aware of the fact that you can't use that hoverboard on water unless you've got power. That's a great scene.
So there we go. It's Infrastructure Week.
It was, good infrastructure. I'm all for it. You're right about the broadband stuff, though. We could, because actually, as a side note, one of the stories that I was going to talk about is that some pubs are saying, even though it's a pandemic, and be careful about handing coins and notes over to people because that's how the flipping Black Death got spread.
Yeah.
And like the town of Eyam in Derbyshire still has the stones at the village, I guess, the village perimeter that's got little divots in the stones where they had to put coins in vinegar to stop the plague being spread.
God.
But Weatherspoons is saying bring money during a pandemic because our Wi-Fi might not reach out to the beer gardens. So, and my theory is no, right? If I don't turn up with cash and your Wi-Fi doesn't reach, free beer for Stevie. It's just my side point.
You know what would happen if that whole vinegar dipping thing happened in today's modern era? Yeah. You'd have a bunch of people on certain platforms that we know and love going, oh, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not sticking my money in no vinegar. It's my freedom to lick my coin and pay that guy myself. I'm not dipping my money in no vinegar.
They'll be talking about some YouTube video that says how many thousands of people have died because of vinegar. That's what it is. Honestly, on the TikTok thing, someone said 0.75 million people died because of AstraZeneca vaccine. Like, that's like most of them. What the hell? Gee. And it's like 14 people. Anyway, before we get stuck into all of that, some comments coming through because Chris Curling joins us. Hello, you're late to the show, but thank you for being there in the comment section. He says, what did I miss? And Chris Hood says, lots of wee stuff mainly. We talked about wee.
Hand gel.
Hand gel, which Eric currently has on his head. And there's a lady in America who can wee out alcohol because she's got an infection.
Yeah.
And on that topic, because we were trying to imagine if you had like a good old-fashioned, at some point in the comment section afterwards, I'll find the name of the American actor who does great voiceovers. And I just imagine like panning across some rolling hills. You see some Great Lakes, and the voiceover would be, Old Lady Brewery, for when you need a taste of Old Lady. And Britt says, where's this one gone? Saying, you keep saying old lady piss. Where's the message? You keep saying old lady piss, but is young women piss less yucky in some way? That's interesting. Have I done ageism, or is it simply that old lady piss is alcoholic, and I'll go for the young lady piss if I'm driving?
Yeah, well, you want the wine to be aged.
What year is this?
You know,
got a 65.
You know, but if it's beer based. If it's that yeasty, yeah, you want it fresh.
Yeah.
You want it young and fresh.
But in answer to your question, Britt, no, I probably think they're all a bit gross. But one of them's alcoholic, and that's the thing you got to realise. It's a pull. Chris says, I'm looking forward to your next anniversary. I think he got bored. He's going to bail for a year. Come back next year, see if we've improved.
Yep.
A pint with a suspect head, says Chris. Yeah, we're talking about pints. Mark says, all President Biden has to do include shooting ranges as new infrastructure, guaranteed
nice.
Fox News win.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Can you?
It's a $2 trillion bill. I'm sure it's in there somewhere.
Yeah. And just build a bridge, and on the side of it, a couple of targets.
Yeah.
Is that easy enough?
Actually, that's kind of most of America already.
Yeah, you don't need the targets put on there. The shooting happens anyway. If a centipede... Sorry, you made me laugh. Brits made me laugh. If a centipede a pint, how much did a precipice...
You want me to try and say it?
No, it's a great... It's a pee-pee pun fest. I've not done a visual jingle that goes, piss puns. If a centipede a pint, how much did a precipice?
Nice.
The Wee Show. We're a year in, and we're celebrating it with urine.
I think we've grown, to be fair. If you'd seen the shit we talked about in the first episode, literally.
My daughter's 25th birthday today, so was eating cake, says Chris. Be careful how much sugar she has, because you never know. She might be on draft down there.
Don't talk about his daughter.
No, I'm just saying, ladies apparently can... They are, in many ways, the creators, Not only with
Yes.
the womb to create life, but the bladder to create beverages.
Maybe that's where beer came, because I always wondered where beer started.
Yeah.
Maybe that was it.
It's also changed that rhyme from milk, milk, lemonade. Not anymore. Milk, milk, lager top. Around the bottom, chocolate pocket.
People in North America will be so confused watching this show.
Good. No one wants to understand the things I'm saying. I don't think you benefit if you work out what I'm on about.
Yeah. 20 years I've been here and still.
You know what a
Still
lager
don't
top is, though, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's gross, but
As gross as old lady piss.
I'd rather have the old lady piss.
Yeah.
You don't mix. Don't put lemonade, but it's not lemonade. It's 7-Up essentially. It's very confusing.
7-Up. America lemonade is 7-Up, but it's all lemon over here. There's no lime. 7-Up's got lime flavors in it. That would be wrong.
It's the same flavor. You can't tell the difference.
To your uneducated palate. It's but for me, 7-Up.
Yeah. The next one, lady piss.
Mark
Same
says,
thing.
pray you don't get a cheeky Vimto. Well, on that mental image.
Right. Should we? What time is it? Oh my goodness, we need to wrap things up. I'll put these. We'll put these in the comment one more time. If you've enjoyed the show, to subscribe. Oops.
Yep, there's the main link for that.
It's not
For
returning.
general
There's too much
liking,
comments.
there's spreading of words and liking and sharing is this little
Yep.
one down here, and of course the Ko-fi link would be
Yes.
very much appreciated to help our few. We're not on that goal at the moment, but one of our Ko-fi goals should be to buy a round of you know what.
Yes, exactly. Someday we'll get to do these live again, and we can buy rounds. And yeah, if you can contribute to the show, that's amazing. If not, if you can tell people about it, because you can see this episode and previous ones on the YouTube channel, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, that would be absolutely amazing. Once we get to 1,000 subscribers, that means we get to have pinned comments, which I'm really excited about.
Nice.
Yep, that's it.
That's
you know,
it.
I mean, my daughter will have gotten her GCSEs by then, but that's fine. Pinned comments.
that's all we
What'd you
have.
do today, Daddy? My son will be owning DaVinci Resolve, but I'll have a pinned comment somewhere. That's the dream.
So I discovered that as a free way of editing clips for our thing, like a couple of weeks into the show, and then told you about
Yeah.
it, and then sat there with you as you downloaded it. And in that short amount of time, your son has then been like, "That's a piece of cake. I could do that so much easier."
I got him on that because he wanted Adobe Filmmaker Pro, and I was like, no, you can
Get
do
the free one.
DaVinci Resolve. That's what all the YouTubers do.
It's great though, isn't it? But also, if he's that good at it, can next week maybe I'll do the show with him? Because just saying, he's got the tech in his house.
Yeah.
Is cheeky Vimto, says Chris, the same as a dirty Bristow? Do you know, I'm worried about where we're going with this. The
Let's
dirty
leave it.
Bristow.
Let's just move away. We're going to confuse so many
Anything with the word rusty in it as well, never goes well. All
no.
those phrases,
No. You gotta, whenever you have to get out the steel pad to clean up afterwards.
Oh, the wire brush. So look, we've got our Twitter things on screen as well, so you could follow us on Twitter if you don't already. In terms of plugging stuff, I've actually got something that I'm doing to plug.
What?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me about this.
So I mentioned that I'm on BBC 5 Live tomorrow. Well,
yes.
as a guest on Adrian Charles' show, talking through the news, I imagine we'll say different things than I've done in the show today about some of the news stories. Or I'll never get to be invited back there again. But tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm doing that. That's one thing. And I'll be tweeting about it, which is why I mentioned the Twitter.
There you go. And tomorrow at 10 a.m., I'll be walking the dog.
Nice. You're going to be live tweeting it?
No.
It's an option.
It's a private moment.
All right. But you have to
It's
turn
not
the
a
bag
euphemism.
inside out. I know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Trick is after it's had one poo. Then you got to keep, because you only want to use one bag, because that's bad otherwise.
Do you
Double stack.
Do you hang them on bush? Are you one of those like poo fairies? You just leave the bag of poo on a tree.
Yeah. That's what they're there for.
Right.
I don't know if I told you about the time that I was in the middle of the pandemic when we definitely weren't sure if we were supposed to ever touch another human being again. I was walking into the park, and I had the dog had pooped right into the park, and I had the bag, and I was going to carry it to the next bin, and a lady was leaving the park, and she just grabbed the bag out of my hand because she was headed towards the exit. And I was like, lady, you just stole my bag of poo.
Hello, police. What?
And I was like, and I may be COVID. Like, what are you doing? Why are you taking my
I'd
poo?
love to have seen you do that. Great sketch idea. Hello, police? Yeah, a lady's just mugged me for my bag of poo. Description. I'm about quite warm, about 7 inches long. Oh, the lady. No,
True stories of my life.
Well,
That's
you're
the
living
next
it
show.
large, aren't you?
Yep.
Chris says, what about the book, Steve? I'm just plugging tomorrow's 5 Live thing. We'll plug the book again next week.
Yep.
Don't
There we
know
go.
how to do it.
The book will be there. So otherwise, thank you very much for watching. We'll be back next Tuesday at 9 o'clock.
Till then, bye.
Bye.